This is a new thing. That did anyone hear that? My computer said recording in progress.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
I like that it asked if I consent to being recorded. That's a great thing.
Oh, did everyone's screen say that?
Yes, but should I press continue?
That's pretty awesome.
Should I press continue?
It's a new thing.
Yeah, let's go. Yep.
All right, I'll press continue.
All right, we're live and this is being recorded. We have a live audience here. Welcome to the Schneps Media PoliticsNY Showdown for District 47. We have the candidates here. There are no women in this race. So women, what the heck? This is the year of the woman, as Joseph Packer said. It's the year of the woman.
That's right.
So where are the women in District 47? We have 4 fabulous men that we're going to get to know right now. So welcome, PoliticsNY with Sky, the Steve with a tie.
Hi.
Schneps Media is the only media outlet providing a platform for all these candidates to have their faces seen and voices heard and personalities on display, because we know this year is different than any other year. There aren't a lot of opportunities for candidates to really be themselves. Typically, when they're asked questions by journalists, it's about the issues. And tonight we'll just have a little bit of fun interspersed with some issues for a change. So I'd like to say a big thank you to our partners at the Brooklyn Public Library who are working with us to promote voter education and engagement for the 2021 local elections. It's more important than ever that people get out to vote this year. It's going to change the whole face of city government. And with ranked choice voting, it's anyone's game, right? So District 47, it's for sure. I know, for sure. We're going to be doing a webinar on ranked choice voting in June. So we'll let everyone know about that. But anyway, District 47, these are the candidates. We've invited all the candidates who are on the ballot for District 47 to be part of this, and we're happy to have these 4 gentlemen with us. It's a district currently represented by Mark Traeger. It includes Bensonhurst, Coney Island, Gravesend, and Seagate on the South Shore in Brooklyn. So today's debate will be fast and fun, unlike any other debate you've ever been a part of. So we'll just limit the time to 90 seconds. So speak in little little chunks, and we'll be good to go. And we like to make it a little conversational. So we'll give you opportunity to, talk about issues that you care the most about. And really the purpose of this is to demonstrate to the voters what makes you the best candidate. So any way that you can differentiate yourself from the other people on the screen, that's valuable to voters. So anyway, this is being recorded. It'll be on politicsny.com/debates. Steve and I have moderated. This is District 47. We've moderated all the debates leading up to 47. So that's 1 through 47 at this point. Tomorrow night, we end the debate series and we're doing the Bronx Borough President debate after this. So it's all online, it's all recorded. So welcome to our candidates. Let's first kick off with each of you telling us about yourself and what makes you the best person in this race. Include that in your introduction. What makes you the best candidate in this race? And let's begin with Alec Brook-Krasny.
Thank you very much, Sky. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm always saying for the opportunity to speak and for the opportunity to listen, because to listen is more important for the politician than to speak. I'm absolutely sure about it. So my name is Alec Brook-Krasny. I'm running for New York City Council. I've been community board member, community board 13 board member for years. Then I was an officer, treasurer of the community board. I'm a founding executive director of an umbrella for the Russian-speaking community in New York City. So I've been running nonprofits. I ran a small business which I built, developed, and ran called Fanorama Kids Entertainment Center. And I've been in the assembly for almost 9 years. So with all of that, I think I have enough experience to lead the district, lead my neighbors into something that we would call a crisis. But for me, crisis is always an opportunity. So we have an opportunity in post-COVID times, we have an opportunity. And I think I have all the experience, all the expertise, and most importantly, I have a passion to lead the district. I think with all my experience in all parts of this life, in small business, in nonprofits, in politics, we need a person with that experience right now, because this is a time when you don't have time for the interning, even though I like Stephen Patzer very much. We don't have time for the person who's been frankly carrying raincoats for the politicians for the last 11 years. And even Joe Parker, my friend for 25 years, I don't think has an experience that I have. So I think I'm the man for the job. Thank you very much.
Wow, he already called 2 people out and we're only in the introduction.
Yeah, that's my style, Sky. You don't know me yet, right?
I know, I don't know you yet, but I'm happy to get to
Yeah.
know you.
Yeah.
Same here. Same here.
So let's hear from Stephen
Go ahead,
Patzer
we'll
next,
sit over
since
here.
that was the first person hit in Alec's opening statement.
I like him.
Yeah,
I
thank
like
you.
him.
Thank you so much. So my name is Stephen Patzer. I'm a lifelong Southern Brooklynite, product of a single parent household, product of a public school education. And I heard Alec talking about being there in a crisis. Well, in fact, I was the only candidate out for the first few months of the pandemic serving our neighbors. So you can count on me in a crisis. You can't lead from a couch. That is a matter of fact. I have organized over 70 events in the last 3 years to serve our neighbors. Never been paid for it, never held elected office. Issues that hit home for me are gun violence. I lost my aunt to gun violence. I was held up at gunpoint in high school. And just a few days ago, I saw a shooting happen right before my eyes, the Marlboro houses in Gravesend. I live a few blocks away. And so we need leadership we can count on in a crisis. We need people who aren't waiting to be elected to get stuff done. And if that's the case, then I'm your candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's hear from Joseph Packer next.
Oh, good evening. I want to first of all thank you for hosting this, and I didn't know the library was involved because my family works in the library, and I wish they would have told me that they're part of this. So now let me just tell you something about myself. I'm a lifelong community activist and organizer. I'm not a politician, but I hold them accountable, and Alec can tell you that. And I have worked with Councilman Dominic Recchi, but it's only for the purpose of making sure my community gets what it deserves. So I was able to achieve quite a few things that is quite notable. I was able to work and make sure that Kaiser Park was renovated and was done all over because that was a crying need that our community needed. And I also worked very hard to make sure we had a standalone gymnasium because 188, the little school there, they was playing inside the lunchroom. So I made sure that was another contingent that I wanted to do. Also, social atmosphere was so bad, especially with the academics, is that we had, and this is back when David Dinkins was running. I worked with the David Dinkins administration to make sure we had a hardship beacon program that means that children have to pay a dime. They didn't pay not 1 cent. And they have all the enrichments that they needed, all the recreation that they needed for no cost. And it's still in existence today. And I'm still on the executive board for the hardship. Also, I just want to just slap down what Steve Patzer said because it was totally wrong. What he did, you come into a neighborhood, you just can't just come and make no grand appearance in the neighborhood. You're talking about years and decades of service. So don't stop mimicking about what you did for a few minutes and a few seconds in our neighborhood. And that's totally destroys everything that you're supposed to be standing for. But this is not about being a politician. This is about your community service and what you bring to the table. And what you said, now he went out there and we served our community. We made sure that they had meals during the time of a crisis. We went out there and put ourselves at risk. I served over 1,000 meals a day to the residents there. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that everyone was part of that. And we'll go back to that later.
Thank you. I know I meant to tell you, I like to do hand motions instead of cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm fine with that.
We'll do
Me too.
Wrap it up, keep it short.
That'll work.
Okay. So last but not least, Ari, let's hear about you.
Thank you so much, Sky. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Ari Kagan, and I'm running because I believe that our communities in Southern Brooklyn are really hurting. We are in the middle of several crises. It's a post-pandemic recovery. It's a mental health crisis. It's a public safety crisis. It's affordable housing crisis. So we need experienced person who is honest, person who is hardworking, and person who has the right experience. I strongly believe I am such a person. I came to America more than 28 years ago from Belarus. I'm immigrant. I'm proud father of 2 beautiful children. I came to America with no money, just a lot of dreams, no English. And I studied English at nights and worked daytime. So I'm workaholic. I love to help people. I never, ever abandoned my community. I worked after Superstorm Sandy, helping people in Coney Island and other neighborhoods of Southern Brooklyn with all their needs. And during the pandemic, don't listen to the rumors, I was every day helping people with masks and food and sanitizer distributions, coordinated donations to Coney Island Hospital. I help people with unemployment insurance and every kind of needs, sometimes personally delivering food to seniors, to people with disabilities in their homes at any time of the day. I love to help people. It's my passion of my life. I'm also a Democratic district leader since 2012. I was elected by Democrats in the district, which has a lot of neighborhoods from 47th Councilmanic district. Yes, I did work for several elected officials, and I'm proud of my work for them. I worked for U.S. Congressmen, for 2 city controllers, and yes, since last year I was working for Councilman Mark Traeger, who is doing tremendous job for 47th district, and I believe that I'm the right man for this job, right person, I would say, for this job, because we respect and love women every day, not just once a year, not just on Mother's Day or in March, but every day, because we believe that women is like basically backbone of our society, our life. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I would be ready to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. And you said you'll answer any of the questions. I just want to address our live audience. We have some people watching this live. So if those people have questions, you can type them into the Q&A, and Steve and someone raised their hand, use the Q&A function, and we will try and incorporate some of your questions. So first and foremost, let's kick it off with talking about some of the issues that matter to you the most. So let's go around and we'll change up the order.
1 minute. And Ari, can you put up your sound, or do you have sound there? We should have done maybe a sound check with you. I don't.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I could hear you, but it's muffled. Is it to you, Sky?
I mean, you sound far away, but I could hear what you're saying.
Okay, I could hear what you're saying too.
Yeah. I will speak louder.
Okay, great.
Do you hear me
Now-
now?
Yes. So let's talk about issues, right? Everyone, there's a lot of issues in all the communities. Why don't you tell us about one issue that you think makes you the best candidate to solve that particular issue in your community? So talk about something that you really want to focus on, or something that you have focused on, and what makes you the best person with your experience to solve that one specific issue. And let's begin with Joe.
Oh, sure. I think housing would be probably my biggest suit, because I was a former housing manager. I know about Mitchell-Lama. I know about the lack of housing that we had in Coney Island for people that looking for affordable housing. I know that people who work and have a working job, working for the city, they can't even afford to live in the housing that we have here because of the way that the standards are put in place. Unfortunately, I believe that the housing now is moving to the developers. They come into high-end housing. And I think that if you're living in New York City Housing Authority, you should have every opportunity to stay here in your community. And I have a plan to make sure that happens. I found the way where home ownership should be a part of the plan, and people should have the equity that they put in and made an investment to be able to stay here. And we shouldn't be trying to force them out. Main thing, I think that I have a wealth of knowledge in working with different programs to make sure that these residents can stay in their homes and be a part of our community.
Mm-hmm. And I just wonder, maybe we'll go over to Alec now, since you served at the state level. Is this something that you were able to address, and what could you do differently than coming back into office?
I would just, thank you. I would just continue what I've been doing as an assemblyman. And there are many different issues, but you want me to choose one, so I'll choose safety. And within a safety, relationship between different communities. It's a very diverse district, people speaking more than 40 languages. And I have an experience putting together people from different communities, especially at the beginning of 2000s, when the Russian Americans have started coming to Coney Island, to the affordable housing apartments. There was some tension between the communities. I was able to put together leaders of the Russian-speaking community, leaders of African-American community, Spanish community, and the police officers and the chiefs of the police. We brought more police officers speaking the same language into the area. And as a city councilman, what I will do, I will get rid of the old rule, which would prohibit police officers to serve the same neighborhood they live in. This is the old rule, and I think this rule should be abolished. And this rule, if we abolish this rule, we'll have a greater ties between the community and the police. And of course, police accountability is something that I've been working on for many, many years. So safety relationship between the communities, I would say this is very important. But there are also year-round destination for Coney Island. Housing is very important because it's really, we can face a big social gap between new buildings, which was built because I've done rezoning in 2009, and the old stock of affordable housing. This is very, very dangerous situation, and we have to fix this stock of affordable housing. And for that, I have a great experience. I had a person in my office dedicated totally to the stock of affordable housing. What we've been doing, I've been giving people my cell phone number. I told them to call me with the order number, and that order number would go right away to the person in the office, and we would take care of problems in the affordable housing buildings. That was done in my office. It was also a part of Dominic Reiki office. We were assemblyman and city councilman working very, very closely. Yes, Dominic had a person in the office, and she was a former deputy commissioner, HPD deputy commissioner. So I have a great experience in working with the housing, with NYCHA, and with people involved. Thank you very much.
Right. So you talked housing, we talked about public safety. Stephen Patzer, is there another issue or maybe one of these issues that you think that you'd be the best person to serve?
Public safety has to be the #1 priority of our communities above all else. Without public safety, people are going to be afraid to go to work. People are going to be afraid to travel. And we're a campaign that's based on our action, not just our opinion. We're not waiting into office to start to tackle public safety issues in our communities. Already during the holidays, we give out police toys to kids, police officer uniforms and Legos so kids can grow up with respect for police officers. We encourage them to enroll in the Explorers program, which should be expanded on. We fully support expanding the neighborhood coordination officer programs and encourage our neighbors to go to those meetings and support the NYPD. Moreover, like I said earlier, I was held up at gunpoint. My aunt was murdered. And just the other day in Marlboro houses, I witnessed a shooting. We were in the Marlboro Community Center on lockdown for half an hour until police arrived to respond to the scene. 5 shell casings were recovered. We organized a human library to bring people from all faiths and backgrounds together so they can discuss different stereotypes, and you watch them dissolve before your eyes. We also did talks at Lafayette High School to the kids, 450 seniors, about fighting against hate in our communities. I used to work for the Simon Wiesenthal Center fighting against hate and anti-Semitism. So I understand all too well the realities of hate against Asians and Jews and all groups in our communities. And we're not waiting to get that done. We've organized over 6 job fairs for our communities, 3 virtual when the pandemic began to get our neighbors back to work. Jobs and violence and violence statistics have a direct correlation. And so we're not waiting. We're getting started already. And public safety, #1.
See, and anyone who disses him for being a young candidate, he certainly can speak to all the things that he's doing.
Sky, he's wonderful. I love him. He'll become city councilman at 8 years from now.
All right.
Let's go to Ari. Yes.
Yes, Stephen. Thank you, Sky. So I would say housing and public safety would be my priority, of course, as well as post-pandemic recovery.
Yeah,
I would
maybe put your microphone up to your mouth. Maybe that would be better.
Yeah, there's some.
Do you hear me well now?
A
You
little
hear me
bit.
better? Okay, I will speak louder. Okay, so I would say post-pandemic recovery, housing, public safety would be my priority when I'm in the office. Talking about housing, it's good to have a work order number, but if person getting 1 work order number, 2nd work order number, 3rd work order number, and nothing works, then you need to do something. I have on my platform NYCHA Accountability Act. I'm a journalist by trade. I was a journalist working in an ethnic newspaper. I have a TV show, radio show. So I know how to expose problems, how to expose serious issues. I will host public hearings in New York City Council about NYCHA accountability. I will make them accountable. I remember while working for Controller's Office, how many audits exposed what NYCHA is doing wrong. I would not polish things, I would not say everything is great, just give me another work order number. There are so many issues. When I'm visiting these apartments personally, it's a mold, it's a leaks, and it could be 300 work orders number, but nothing changes. So someone has to be held responsible, and it should be city law, not just federal monitor, not just state monitor, but it should be city law. In terms of public safety, I worked for many years with Coney Island Anti-Violence Collaborative. I'm proud of my work with Operation Hood and many local non-for-profit community groups. that are working very effectively with police officers. I'm proud to be endorsed in this race by Detectives Endowment Association, by Tommy Hopkins, who worked for many, many years as a community affairs officer at 60th Precinct. I would also mention in terms of housing, many small small homeowners are suffering during the pandemic. We need to freeze these exorbitant taxes, property taxes in New York City, at least for the next several years, especially during the pandemic. After the pandemic, we need to help small homeowners. Right now, they're basically abandoned. Nobody is even talking about helping small homeowners. I believe I would be their voice as well. Many small homeowners are complaining to me all over the district, all over South in Brooklyn, that nobody cares about them, that government doesn't respond, doesn't even give a second thought. They need help. And of course, small businesses also suffering a lot. They need grants, not another loan. When I talked to Magda from Prime Meat Store on Mermaid Avenue, she's still repaying her loan from Superstorm Sandy from SBA. She doesn't need another loan. She needs a grant to help her to run beautiful, popular meat market. So I believe I know these issues and I know how to expose what is wrong in our government. That's why I believe I would be great counsel.
Thank you. So each of the candidates spoke about slightly different issues. Steve, did you have a question for the candidates?
Yes, I'm going to switch it over just a little bit fun, just to know how well you know the district. One, when you go to the Coney Island Amusement Center, where is your 3 favorite places to go? And also, which make the district very interesting, you also represent Bensonhurst, which is known for quite a few good restaurants. What is your favorite restaurant in Bensonhurst? So let's start with Ari, because he went last the last couple of times.
Thank you so much. Just today, had a beautiful time. I had a lunch, very good lunch, after I was endorsed by Congresswoman Grace Mann in the Choi Fook restaurant on 86th Street, 2050 86th Street, Choi Fook restaurant. And when we hosted a rally against hate toward Asian Americans, we did this rally hosted in Bensonhurst. It was new Ryan's restaurant. I advise everybody to go there. It's also a beautiful restaurant and great food. In terms of Coney Island, of course, Tom's restaurant, Coney Island Tom, everybody knows, like this is amazing. It suffered a lot during the Hurricane Sandy, but I would recommend Tom's, especially to go on the roof, and you can see entire Coney Island. It's a beautiful view from the rooftop of Tom's restaurant in Coney Island. And in terms of my favorite, ride, I prefer Wonderville. With my family, I was there many times. Wonderville is the best.
Thank you. Sky, you call them out.
Okay, Stephen, I know you had your hand up.
So I'll give you a favorite restaurant from 3 different neighborhoods. On Bath Avenue, Mashallah is great Pakistani food, ethnic. It's great. You gotta like spices though. In Bensonhurst on 18th Avenue, you have Da Vinci's Pizzeria. They ship their pizza nationally. That's how renowned their square slice is. On 86th Street, Mr. Bun. We organized a food crawl to his restaurant of everyone in the community who would be interested in participating in it. When Chinese restaurants were getting rocks thrown through their window, he told me he didn't think he'd be in business for another 6 weeks. Well, I'm proud to say our second annual food crawl, he was still around long after the beginning of the pandemic. And you know what? I got to jump to Coney Island, 4th spot. Donna Zita's is authentic Mexican cuisine in the amusement district. It's a hidden gem. You wouldn't be able to see it from Surf Avenue. You got to go and look for it. So those would be, I'd say, top 4.
And amusement park? What's your favorite ride?
It's going to be a cliche, but it's got to be the Cyclone. I go around twice on it. We don't just do one ride.
Let's hear from Mr. Brook-Krasny.
Hi again, Sky. Hi, Stephen. I'm listening to Ari. Ari, do you know that I wrote your first job description in 2011? Who in the right mind would give you to run an audit in the city controller office? What are you talking about? All right, anyway, Steve, I'm going to answer your question. First of all, I love my wife's cooking. I love it. And let me spend this time just talking about year-round destination. Coney Island is year-round destination. In 2009, Dominic Rakier, Mr. Mayor Mike, and I, we signed the agreement. And the agreement was that the first and most important issue in Coney Island is to create year-round destination. Coney Island is year-round destination. As a councilman, I will continue to work on it, because when we have 4 or 5 months on Coney Island, first of all, you cannot live on a salary for 4 or 5 months a year. And second, we have to bring the economy to Coney Island, the real economy. So instead of seeing just a few amusement pieces, we have to see there a spa hotel. We have to see their water park, something that we've been talking about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Without making Coney Island a year-round destination, we wouldn't have a good jobs. As for Coney Island people, by the way, we're not going to have a strong economy. We have to do everything we can. And when I hear that my friends, whom I see on the monitor today, are talking about that they just want to see less cars on Coney Island. Let me tell you, Steve and Sky, without the pedestrian traffic on Coney Island, we wouldn't be able to have a strong businesses. Yeah. This is just, it's given. So without year-round destination, and I believe that the current city councilman just forgot about that agreement. I don't know where those conversations, they just disappeared. And you and I, we've been talking about it, Steve, some 15 years ago, making it a year-round destination. Coney Island is a great place. It's oceanfront properties. You can bring so many people to Coney Island and got a great jobs and wonderful economy. But for that, we have to make it a year-round destination. On the last debate, I was the only one who actually knew what the mission of the Alliance for Coney Island is. And it's a year-round destination on Coney Island, not the promoting. Well, I understand that word promotion is sitting in your mind because you're always promoting your bosses. That was always your part of the job, according to the job description that I wrote for you in 2011.
Let's hear from
Thank
Ari
you.
now. Ari, what is he talking about?
Sky, let me have some fun, please.
Hear from Ari now. Let's have fun, but let's hear. Yeah.
And then we gotta let Ms.
I'm very, very, very proud of my work for 2 city controllers, for Controller John Liu, who is currently state senator and who endorsed me in this race, and for City Controller Scott Stringer. In total, I worked for City Controller's office for more than 7 years. And I would say many, many audits. Yes, I had to promote them, but before you promoting anything, you have to know what you're talking about. And then I hosted, together with Controller Stringer, 3 tenant associations meeting in Coney Island houses, Kerry Gardens houses, and Unity Towers. And I would say Wanda Feliciana from Unity Towers and Shirley Akins from Kerry Gardens endorsed me in this race. I would say it was a very useful meeting. It was very late meeting. It was all about audits of nature. Very often when nature was audited, then nothing happening and we need to follow up. So not just I learned about audits, we did more follow-ups with resident leaders, with residents. There were many people. It was a night meeting. I did not see Alec Brook-Krasny there. He gave me a lot of awards for my great community work. I have some of them, but it's not the point. The point is working for Controller's office. You're learning about so many things citywide because it is citywide elected officials and it's making government accountable, making city agencies accountable. You're learning how to make sure that everything is done properly and there is no another excuse and another excuse. While I left Controller's office and worked for City Council, it was very, very helpful, this knowledge, to push certain buttons, to go through so-called red tape in the bureaucracy. So I believe it is a very important part of my experience, and it is very helpful because it helps me to navigate city government. It helps me to address concerns of our constituents in 47th district and across Southern Brooklyn. So I'm very proud of it.
Thank you. And I know we didn't get to hear from Joseph Packer to answer Steve's question about some of your favorite places in the district, the light and easy question.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can't be too light because I have to be very stern on my competitors because I'm the only one who has some history in Coney Island. So I got to be able to at least go back there. I'm an African-American young man, as you can see from the panel here, and I have a long history in Coney Island. And being from New York City Housing Authority, runs the same ones that Steve Patzer said he was stuck up in. I've seen 4 people get shot in front of those buildings, so I have more of an affinity for New York City Housing Authority. So I don't like to think about it as just some trivial thing when you talk about housing and what we have to do. I've lived it, and I've been putting my whole life trying to make sure people have a quality of life here in Coney Island. So, I don't like to think of it just like it's just a political ploy. For me, it's my life, and this is what I believe in, and I made my life destiny of this. And so, what I like to do is say, I've worked in Coney Island. The amusement park was, for me, it was my first job. At 10 years old, I was able to work there. A little game called Shoot the Hoop. It was a little game, and I was able to use my ability just by playing basketball. The guy see me as a young kid, seeing how efficient I was with just shooting the ball, gave me a job there. And then some, and you look at it as a summer resort place, but it was still a place where it was just a place where we just loved to be in the summertime. So that was my experience just being in Coney Island. Later on in life, because of my activity, I was able to work with Horace Bullitt. He was talking about the year-round program. I worked directly with Horace Bullitt, so I know him personally. I went to his house. We sat down. We came up with a conception. We came up with plans for a year-round destination site. So what they're talking about is just things that we have already done, and we have the writing. We have to put it into action. We haven't done it. So EDC has been very proactive in moving things, and I guess they have the alliance that's working with them, and they're doing some good things in Coney Island, but they still have to make it a year-round destination. And if I'm the councilman, it will be a year-round destination. The other things he talked about, as far as the rides, I think my ride was the Himalaya, because I go forward real fast and come backwards, and it's just something that just stimulates you every time you get on the Himalaya. That was my ride in Coney Island. As far as a restaurant, Gargiulo's. Gargiulo's is the place. Gargiulo's is Coney Island. So if I went to Gargiulo's when I was a little kid with Pataletta, I was just 14 years old. Pataletta used to take me there. I used to sit in the corner, and all these guys was coming in. They have their meals, and I was this little kid, this little black kid that was in the corner. That was Joe Kagan. And I sit down, and then Patrick, come on, Joe, let's go. And everyone came, from all the clergy to all the elected officials. They came there, and I had the first front row seat to see how things materialize in Coney Island. So I was so blessed. And then we had L&B restaurant from a little small place, in Bensonhurst. And now L&B is so, you can't find any better. I think it's one of the top restaurants here in Brooklyn, and they've been expanded, and they have the greatest pizza. And Spumoni, you can't beat that Spumoni. And then we have, of course, Totono's. I can go on and on. You trying to stop me, Sky?
No,
but I'm just telling you, that's my experience. When I've seen 4 people get shot in front of my building, and that's history. Now you see that it tears me apart. So my whole life thing is to make sure no one, and I'm only running because I want to be a sample for young people that's coming up. I want them to see, look at this black man, he's running for city council, you can too. And that's what I'm running for the city council, to make sure we make a difference in these young people's lives.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned gun violence, and Stephen mentioned gun violence, and a question came in specific about gun violence. It says that Mayor de Blasio invested $27 million to create these 20 cure violence gun reduction programs, including Operation Hood in Coney Island.
Right.
And it's a long question, but it says, do you believe these cure violence programs in general and Operation Hood in particular are effective and successful programs? And if elected, would you support continued and expanding funding for this program?
Can I be the first to start off with that?
Sure.
Okay, I can start only because I had a cure violence program ourselves. We had an organization called South Brooklyn Community Development Corporation, and we had our own cure violence 20 years ago. We brought, matter of fact, when the inspector, and Alex knows, when we had the inspector show, he came there, he worked directly with our community in developing a protocol to what we can do to cure violence. Brought it down 40% with the model that we put together. So we had a cure violence program in place, and we will continue. So it got strengthened when the Assemblywoman, Matilda Frontis, came into the community, and this is one of her pet peeves, that she was really involved with the whole episode of gun violence. She worked hard to unite people together, elected officials together. It was able to get the cure violence program that's in place now. I mean, I would love to enhance that. The skills that I have is probably far more than probably most people throughout the city. I work with Ken Thompson directly, and I was probably one of his biggest supporters. He put me on his team to make sure we bring down gun violence, get a history of the work that I did. So, and I was dedicated to him. Unfortunately, he passed away early, but I'm still working with the DA's office. I had them come out to the community. So Still working because gun violence is something that we have to eradicate in Coney Island. We have young kids. I do a tournament every year. I've been doing this on my own for almost 30 years. We've been doing basketball games and tournaments just to bring down the violence. When we do basketball games, 40% of the crime comes down in our community.
Mhm.
So, and then we're very fortunate to have people that came through our ranks and made it to the NBA. We had 7 young men made it to the NBA, and because of them, they got that young man named Isaiah Whitehead who continue to do those things. He's running the tournament. Matter of fact, it's still in existence. He started the tournament this week. So you're gonna see violence come down. And what I can say is that the crime members, the people who are out there selling drugs, they have a respect for us that they don't even sell drugs while we're doing these tournaments. So those are the kind of things we have to do. We have to get a report with the people who are actually out there doing the violence and involved in these crimes, and we bring down the crime. It's only because we have the partnership, the relationship to make sure it gets done.
Thank you. Let's go to Stephen Patzer, who also mentioned gun violence.
Yeah, as I said earlier, a campaign based on our action, not just our opinion. We worked with Operation Hood at the beginning of the pandemic, giving out PPE to our neighbors. We walked the streets, in and out of blocks, in and out of buildings. We worked with the Anti-Violence Collaborative during the holidays to give out career-related toys to kids, doctor sets, teacher sets, engineering kits, police toys. Kids spent 4 or 5 minutes trying to figure out what they wanted to be when they grew up. We flipped the script, we changed the narrative, and we added an additional layer of thought to how we can enhance upon a great program. And so I would continue funding them and see what creative ways we can expand on them.
Do Ari or Alec, you want to chime in about this specific
Yes.
issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would definitely continue to support Coney Island Anti-Violence Collaborative, amazing organization, and of course, Operation Food. I'm very proud to be endorsed in this case by Lakeisha Bowers, who is doing so much to improve lives of our young people. I believe the main direction of fighting this gun violence is to make sure that our young people are getting proper education, getting jobs, employment services, all support they need in the community. And I will definitely support all local groups and organizations to provide all of these important services, employment opportunities, getting a proper education, all kinds of art, sports, other programs that would involve our young folks. We need to make sure that they're productive members of society, regardless of their background. I believe this is the right way to do it.
And Alec.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you, Steve. When I built the first year-round entertainment center on Coney Island called Fanorama, it was 1996. 1997, I received the title of an Entrepreneur of the Year from Leisure and Entertainment magazine for that place. At first, my investors were telling me that the audience should be limited to the Russian-speaking community. I said, no, it's going to be open for everybody. And as a result, Fanorama was a year-round entertainment center for everybody. Joe would remember playing shooting hoops at Fanorama, right? So everybody was there. The people from every background, Jewish people, Black people, Latino, Russian speaking, they were sitting together in a cafeteria while the kids were playing games and playing in the arcade, or in fact, listening to the great shows which we had at Fanorama. So it was the first year-round entertainment center, which I built with my own hands. Then when I became a founder of an umbrella organization for the Russian-speaking community, I started to work very closely with the Coney Island organizations and anti-violence organizations, especially with youth organizations. That was the beginning of year 2000, right, Joe? That was 20 years ago. And all this time, as an assemblyman, I've been supporting anti-violence organizations. I've been supporting people like Matilde Frantas, when she was running an organization, anti-violence organization. I've been supporting Pam Harris when she was running an organization for kids, for about 200 kids, with arts and culture in mind. So taking kids from the street, giving them use, giving those youth organizations an opportunity, give young people an opportunity. That's what we have to do in order to reduce violence in Coney Island. And of course, proper and just policing, yes, it's a part of it. But like my great friend, Chief Joe Fox, is saying all of the time, Alec, we can arrest those kids 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but if you, as an elected official, wouldn't get them a job, they, of course, they're going to end up in the jail. But if you give them a job, they're going to end up with developing their great, wonderful life. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, we have 20 minutes left, so I want to have each candidate ask someone else a question. Okay, and let's begin with Stephen Patzer. You want to ask someone a question?
I have a question for Ari Kagan. He showed up to a shooting response in Coney Island. There was a young man who was murdered. What was the name of the young man who was murdered? You spoke at that rally.
The most important is we need to support all people who were killed. Victims of shootings all deserve to be respected, to be remembered. And if I do not remember one name of one victim, it doesn't erase the memory of this person. The most important is to make sure that it's never repeated all over again. We need to do everything possible to fight gun violence in Coney Island and all over Southern Brooklyn. Again, I'm very proud of endorsement by Detectives Association, by community leaders, by elected officials who know my record, including fighting gun violence in Coney Island. So I know it's a gotcha question.
It's not a gotcha question. You showed up and you didn't even know his name when you showed up. You didn't mention his name in your talk. And the members of the family who were there clenched onto me. They didn't know what to do. They were so embarrassed. They were so embarrassed.
Yeah, that's why people from the building came to me afterwards and they talked to me and they stayed to me and they talked to me for a long time, meaning they appreciated that I did come down there and I talked about gun violence. We need to do everything possible to fight gun violence. Again, not just to remember everything, every detail. The most important is the issue, and the issue here is how to prevent gun violence, how to save lives. And I can go into gotcha questions with you, like you're always in the middle of.
Ari, you've had 25 years in government to show us how you cannot save lives. Why does that change now?
If I cannot save lives, how do you explain endorsement from the Texas Endowment Association? How do you explain endorsements for people who are community leaders, who are elected officials? All of them have known me for so many years, and you said all of them have a wrong judgment. They don't understand what they're talking about. They've known me for so many years. So I would say again, I'm very proud of the race I'm running. I believe this is a race of integrity. I believe this is a race of hard work. And this is, the more the race goes, the more it shows that experience matters, honesty matters, integrity matters, and hard work matters. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I was not the subject of daily news story, who is stretching the truth in this election.
Thank you.
Ari, all your endorsements, actually endorsements for Mr. Traeger, not for you.
So you're saying all of these people didn't know me? You're saying Shirley Akins never knew me?
Listen, when you,
never knew me? For many years, I supported Divas Club.
Okay. Ari, listen, you've been a district leader.
I never abandoned my community.
Yes, of course you abandoned your community. You're district leader on Shipshead Bay, Manhattan Beach, and Brighton Beach. You abandoned Shipshead Bay, Manhattan Beach, and Brighton Beach.
That's a fact, actually. That's a fact. You moved in 4 months ago. Relax.
Oh my God, man.
Oh wow, everyone's ganging up on you.
Wow.
Does anybody have a question?
Oh my God.
No,
His endorsements, forget about it.
Okay. Let's Ari. Ari, do you have a question for one of your challengers here?
I would say that they have to stay positive. I'm trying to stay positive, as you can see, but they're trying, they understand that I'm a front runner in this race, so they're upset about it, and that's why they're attacking me. I feel fine. I know what I'm doing. I know why I'm in this race. I know how I'm talking to voters every single day. I did not see at least one of these opponents during the height of the pandemic. I agree with Stephen Patzer. I did not help people during the pandemic from my couch.
So do you have a question for Stephen Patzer?
Do you have a question for anyone?
Do I have questions for them?
For anybody.
I wish them well, and I wish them to be healthy and safe.
Okay, while he's thinking about the questions, Sky and Steve, let me tell you something. You know, during the pandemic, I've been delivering a lot of face shields to the emergency room, Coney Island Hospital, and masks. And you know what? My PR manager looking for the picture, one picture of it. I don't have pictures. You know why? Because it's not about pictures like Ari Kagan is taking at every place he's coming to. It's not about pictures. It's about delivering. And it's not about promotions with the
Alec, you know what
pictures.
they say, if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen.
I have a different opinion. I'm twice older or 3 times older than you. I remember those good old days when people were having a pictures when they've done something, done something, not just taking a pictures and go on the Facebook or in fact on Instagram. So I have a question. I have a question for Stephen Patzer.
Okay.
Stephen, okay,
Yes, sir.
I just, I don't need any endorsements. You know that I'll get an endorsement of people in 47th Pennsylvania District on June 22nd. Now, when I will become a city councilman, I don't want you to leave this community. I want you to learn from me. I want you to work with me because your energy, your desire, I just remember myself 30 years ago. This is a great thing what you have, but please, I know it's going to be the me or you, but you, if it's me, can you promise me to stay in the community?
There's no question about it. I'm a lifelong Southern Brooklynite, and I got nowhere to go.
All right. Listen, I've been here for 28 years in this community, for 28 years. And I'm a taxpayer in this community for 28 years. I don't know. I'm on the Instagram, Sky, on Facebook, I see so many pictures. They're just a lie. A lie. I've been to the Seagate police recently. I've been watching with my own eyes how Mr. Kagan was begging people for the picture. And because you're talking to people in uniform, of course, they hesitate to take a picture with you. But then he went to the city councilman, Mr. Traeger, and he begged him to have a picture with these police officers. And that's how he got a picture on the Facebook. Oh, man, this Instagram and Facebook, that
Mr.
makes
Patzer,
politics
how long have
just,
you lived in
okay.
the district, Steve?
What is this, Steve?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ari can respond and then your
Yes, of
question.
course.
Go ahead.
Why they showed thumbs up? Because I brought masks and sanitizers to Seagate Police Department during the pandemic. Like all over the places, I've never seen once Mr. Brook-Krasny.
They didn't even know who you are. They did not know who you are. It was in front of
Let him
me. I'm
respond.
living in Seagate for
Okay.
28 years. For God's sake, stop
him
lying to the
respond.
people.
Let him respond.
Stop lying.
Mr. Packer, do you have a question?
Go ahead,
Well,
Mr. Packer.
You know what? I almost have to respond to all this stuff because I'm like the only lifelong guy here. I'm hearing people that was here for 20 years. Someone like oh man, Ari just comes and goes. He's a fly by night. He's chosen by Mark Traeger to carry his luggage for him. And then I got Steven is here for the next 2 years. I don't know. Has it been 2 years yet, Steve? But I know
It's been longer than that.
Oh, I don't have too much longer. I love the law that allowed us to go and have these elections when had term limits, and it gave us opportunity to bring in new faces, new ideas, new people. That was the greatest thing. I mean, I fought so hard for that to happen. But when you get people like Steve, who just they're like carpetbaggers, they come into your community and they ingratiate people, and it does the thing about it bamboozle them and trick and fool them into just for that little time to just think they're like a knight on a white horse, But more than that, what's worse than that, what's worse than that is that he says that somebody's sitting on a couch and he don't know what years and years of sacrifice and time and being on the street and watching your people just go and lose their residency. And when people get shot in the street, no one pays for those funerals. Joe Packer pays for these people's funerals. You haven't paid for nobody's funeral. Come on now, let's tell it like it is. I'm the one that had to live with that. I had to go to their houses and talk to their parents. You're on the street when you're doing a little rally, having your 2 minutes out there of fame, but you had to go back, you had to live with these folks. These are my people that we're talking about. So I have to go there and I have to live with them, sit down, make sure their family have a decent burial, so there's some dignity in that house. Those are things that, so when you go out there, yeah, you talk about maybe Alex didn't make it, he didn't go out there and serve food and stuff like your boxes and pounds of food. That is a disgrace because we as elderly people who use the science to our benefits and know when they say it's a pandemic, You don't go out in the street. The same way I call you and say, listen, let's make a pact. Let's agree that we don't go out and have people go out and do petitions. It's unfair to have people that we know and love go out and get petitions and maybe get caught with some COVID or some disease. I couldn't live with myself, and they would either get sick or die. And to your, I can actually say you did agree to it. Ari, you was a little slow coming to the party, Ari. You didn't care less about these people out here, you know, and that's one thing I have to say. I'm gonna have to call you like it is, because one thing we have to get real about who we serve. We're serving the people in the District 47. These are our people. You can't tell me about your relationships you have, because your relationship is a counterfeit relationship, because they're on the backs of Mark Traeger. Okay, even the ones you had prior. I know you had a disagreement when you were supporting somebody against Steve Simowitz, and I said I couldn't support the fellow because he's a racist, and me and you had battles on that. But at this point here, I just don't want you to say that what's the call me supporting you. This is because they're only supporting you because Mark Traeger is the councilman, and he's asking them to come on board and help you. So let's not get things carried away. So let's keep it real and keep everything straight up.
Steve, I'm just curious, how long have you actually lived in the district?
Less than 2 years.
Me?
You don't live there. Your mother lives there. You don't live there. That's your mother's apartment.
My mom lives in New Jersey. Thank you.
Oh, she's okay. I thought she lived in Raisin.
Yeah, and I've been renting an apartment for well over 2.5 years now, beginning of 2019. But thank you.
What district did you grow up in? You said you're long.
I grew up in the 46th.
So why do you run in the 46? That would be a good idea. If you did all this good work that you did here in Coney, you're doing a lot of great things now. You know, if you could do all these great things here in the 47, when you do it in the place where you live, where you have a love for, like me, I love my community. I would never think about running in the 46 because I love my community, and I committed everything I have to my community. You know,
yeah,
so
hey, that's actually a terrific question. I got my bar mitzvah suit at the garage right on Stillwell. I sat through all of the buffets with my grandma on 86th Street so she could get her money's worth. We sat there for hours. I went to Coney Island on Friday nights with my mom, Parents Without Partners. My dad left when I was 3. I have a great deal of connection to this district. Many of my friends live in Gravesend.
Steve, that's not
and when my mom got sick and she cheated death and she moved to New Jersey, it was time for me to relocate as well. And I go to where I know. I know Gravesend. I have a lot of friends there that support me. And that was that. I took public service with me. That's a great question.
It's okay. We'll keep him here. He has so much mileage on him at 24 years old. You know, it's just unbelievable.
No,
Guys,
but I'm not,
Steve, let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
Go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just
Sure.
saying, I
Give me
want to be
just one.
mindful of the time. Yes, Alec, make your one comment and then we got to.
Yeah, real quick. You know, my volunteers has been calling during the night for a lot of people during this COVID year to helping people to get on the line for free food. You know, like 311 and stuff like that. So because that was the way to do it, not the way to put a food outside for your pictures and then just try to make a picture next to the senior whom you got out of the house just to take a picture. And by the way, those food baskets belong to nonprofit organizations called Met Council. This is crazy. And now I'm telling you, we help a lot of people by just doing that, you know, on the phone, on the computer, helping a lot of seniors at the comfort of their homes to get those food baskets. But again, I cannot have any pictures. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about Instagram and Facebook because I helped maybe 1,000 people, but I have no evidence. No, except just the words of my volunteers who's been all night long on the computer, because at that time it was very hard to put people on that line during the day. Thank you.
Okay, Joseph Packer, you have a comment? 30 seconds. And then
Quick 30 seconds. Okay, during the pandemic, I must tell you what we did do, because I don't want people sitting on the couch. I organized during the pandemic 2 BLM, Black Lives Matter marches, 2 of them. I worked with a young man named Moses. We tried to lead the people to the promised land. I did 2 marches with him. And also I did 2 graduations. I think one Stephen participated in, and also he was able to our graduates, because they didn't have no proper graduation. We used the amphitheater and make sure that those graduates recognized for graduating. We thought that was a real big thing to do. You know, we're really surprised at the help. And then on top of that, we gave over. I worked with all the churches in my community. I'm very fortunate to have that relationship with them. I was able to get 1,000 boxes of food a week to serve the people in Coney Island. So those are noteworthy things during the pandemic.
Thank you.
Right, and now just the
Steve.
most interesting moment, I promise, Steve, I promise, most interesting moment in the whole debate. I'd like to listen and I like to talk. So I'm challenging every one of you guys for the debate one-on-one. Are you first? Anytime, any place. Thank you.
Okay.
right.
Challenge. Okay, now we have to wrap up, everyone. We have 4 minutes left. So that means each candidate gets a whole minute to just conclude, say anything you want, and maybe include your superpower that you want to leave people with that they'll remember about you when voters listen to this. And let's begin with Ari.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Finally, I can say something about all of this. First of all, I would like to say that, again, I would remind again, I never abandoned this community. I worked after Superstorm Sandy, helping people in 2012, by the way, 2012, after Superstorm Sandy, giving out food, water, clothes, standing together with Ada Leon from NYC Women's Project and many other community leaders, helping on the ground. That's why sometimes I meet people on the streets of Coney Island who said, thank you, Ari, you helped me after in the most difficult period of time during the Superstorm Sandy. So many, many years ago. So I'm proud of every endorsement in this race. They're community people, they're community leaders, they're elected officials who have known me for many years. Unions like Detectives Association, like Nurses Association, like United Federation of Teachers, and many others. I would say that me being this Democratic district leader, I'm very proud of my endorsement from Marlboro Resident Association leaders. It was the first endorsement in this race. And it was like, I was very humble, to accept their endorsement. They have known me for many years, helping people in Marlboro houses. And I'm spending my time in the morning subway station, in the evening campaigning, meeting, talking to voters all over the district. So I believe I have a proper experience, and I believe that I am the right person to lead this post-pandemic recovery in 47 district. I would be delighted to have your support. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Now, Alec Brook-Krasny, 1 minute to conclude, and your superpower.
Thank you, Alec Brook-Krasny. Next. All right, what made me run again for city council now? To be honest with all of you, it wasn't an easy decision. I gave all of myself to my community. I was in office for 9 years. Prior to that, working for the community board, for nonprofits. Look, 20 years of a hard job, 24/7. And, at that time, assemblyman was a part-time position, but I couldn't do it part-time, I swear. It was 24/7 all the time. I'm a very passionate person. Since I was a kid, I was a passionate person. I'm very passionate about my community. I built a business here. I've been an assemblyman here. I built a house here in Seagate 28 years ago. My kids were born here. Went through public schools, all 3 of them. I built a family here in this district. I'm very much concerned of the future of this district. And with that in mind, I have year-round, Coney Island as a year-round destination. I like to have people get to know each other even more from different communities. For that, I think we have to have a community center, what I call it, without the walls. First, we have to create proper organizations, anti-violence, etc. And then I will create the walls for them as a city council with the capital money. I know I don't have time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And just hire me again. Hire me again. I'll do 24/7 job for you.
You're building a wall, you said?
Oh, no, not the Trump wall. I'm saying that we just, Sky, that was,
You said you're building
from the beautiful lady like you, this question, then you have to give me 30 minutes, right?
No,
30 seconds, okay. So when I was, I'm a founding executive director of an umbrella for Kajeka.
10 seconds.
And before we build the walls, I decided that we're going to have an organizations that would be able to sustain an operational budget within those walls. When we'll build the walls of the community center, then those organizations will be ready and the community center will be able to sustain the budget.
Thank you for clarifying. Now, Joseph Packer.
First of all, let me thank PoliticsNY and also the library, BPL, for hosting, and also my fellow colleagues here, the candidates. It's a very spirited conversation we've been having. I wish that what I went through in life this past year with the pandemic was really it's really heart-wrenching. Unfortunately, I had an ailment, a personal ailment. My doctor told me I had cancer. The 3 doctors I went to told me I had cancer, so I wasn't able to talk for over 9 months, and it really hurt my candidacy. I wasn't able to go out. It's not like anything like Steve said, like we're trying to hide from the pandemic, even though the pandemic hit us. But I was very fortunate that after seeing 3 doctors, I was able to go to Columbia Presbyterian and had surgery and had 3 polyps removed off my larynx. So I was very blessed when the doctor finally told me that it wasn't cancerous. So my wife and I, we did cartwheels, we clapped and we paraded we clapped in the air for it and we celebrated. And then we decided, you know what? After a month, and this happened in November, the whole month of December, I went for vocal therapy so I can start speaking like Stephen Patzer. So after that 1 month, I then made a decision in January that, okay, my wife was on board with it, so let's go ahead and make a race out of it. So we put our hats back in the race and we came in. So I'm very blessed to be able to make this move and come out here and put myself in. And I'm doing it for the children. This is all about I have a legacy, and I have to think about these kids. I done put up over hundreds of kids into college, you know, and I want to make sure that I don't let them down. And I know I'm the best candidate. I have probably 3 times as much experience as all my colleagues when you talk about community service. So I'm going to make sure that, and there's no reason why I don't have the endorsement of UFT and 30 BJ. It's just that I wasn't even able to apply for it. So I just want to be able to just thank everyone for giving me the opportunity, and thank you, Sky, and thank you, Brother Steve, for giving us the opportunity to address the public.
And best of health to you, Mr. Packer.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Joe, God bless you. You have one of the best wives in the world. Deborah is
I
great.
have the best. I have the best.
Yeah,
Yes, you hit the lottery.
Yours not bad either.
Now
I agree.
let's hear from Stephen
agree.
Patzer. And I know, Joseph, when you mentioned about your larynx, Stephen Patzer has a beautiful singing voice. So maybe
Yeah.
he'll sing.
Well,
as part of
I can
his-
give him a run for his money, though, Sky. I can give him a run for his money. I can sing some blues.
Let's hear from you, Stephen.
My 3 opponents have had the last 25 years to show you what they couldn't do. They've been saying the same thing.
Steve,
over
don't
and
say that,
over
Steve. I
again.
gotta cut him off. He can't say
No,
that.
no,
Don't say
no,
that, Steve.
no. I
He
can't
gets
say
his
that.
time.
You had your
All
time.
right, but be
Steven,
honest.
what a chutzpah, my God, what a chutzpah you have. But I like you for that.
Thank you.
All right,
I
that's
appreciate
Stephen
you guys.
Patzer finished.
Go.
My 3 opponents have had the last 25 years to show you what they couldn't do. They have a lot of policies. Some of them have worked in government, and still their ideas haven't come to fruition. So I say to the voters, if you always do what you've already done, then you will always get what you've already got. And then I want to say what my superpower is. I'm a problem solver. When the drivers to the 26-foot box truck canceled, I learned how to drive that truck with air brakes and a lift gate and a pallet jack to get food to our neighbors waiting in line. When Coney Island Hospital was low on blood reserves, we organized 2 blood drives right here in Gravesend to help with that problem. That's an adorable cat. When
All right, I didn't mean distract, but I'm biased.
when our neighbors were crying that they couldn't find work, we pulled employers by the ear. We cold called them. We brought them right here to Coney Island and Marlboro. When they felt insecure about their appearance, we brought stylists in. When they said they didn't have a resume, we made it for them on the spot. We are a problem-solving campaign shaped by our action, not just our opinion, and we are creating impact now. That's what I gotta say.
Okay, awesome. Now I'll unmute everyone as we conclude. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our candidates. Thank you for being part of this on behalf
Thank
of
you.
Schneps and PoliticsNY and Steve with a tie.
Thank you.
This is recorded. Visit it on our website, subscribe to our newsletter, send us your op-eds, tag us on social media, Alec, if you're even on there, but everyone else is posting on social media and tag us. Ari, tag us in all of your pictures, please. And we'll amplify them on our feed. So thank you so much. Good luck to you and take
Best of
care.
luck to everybody.
Thank
I
you.
know you all. God bless.
Thank you, Steve.
Bye.
Okay. Good luck, guys.